Hello, everyone. Welcome to Diego Knows. I'm Diego. And today I wanted to talk about the new Spider-Man trailer that just dropped yesterday. Spider-Man No Way Home. It's going to come out December 17th, I believe, of this year. So we got a few weeks away, about a month away. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty excited about it. I really am. I am a huge Spider-Man fan. I always have been. Just to real briefly, a little bit of history I have about Spider-Man. I was reading Spider-Man comic books when I first learned how to read. In fact, I learned how to read by reading Spider-Man comic books. I was actually reading trade paperbacks of the 1960s Steve Ditko and Stan Lee stories, which came out before I was born. I was reading those stories and learning words at a very young age. So Spider-Man has always been a part of my life. Okay. Now, I am going to do a separate video on Spider-Man and what he means to me and all that, but I'm not going to talk about that in this one. What I want to do on this one, just talk about the trailer, talk about the Tom Holland Spider-Man, the Marvel Universe Spider-Man right now, and how I feel about the trailer, and just my thoughts overall on the Spider-Man right now. Okay, well, I saw the trailer and I am really excited. I am. Um, Seeing Alfred Molina back as Dr. Octopus, he was an incredible villain in Spider-Man 2. And I know he died, but I always kind of hoped he would come back, and I'm glad that he's back. Uh, um, to William Dafoe back as the Green Goblin. He did an excellent job as the Green Goblin. I think it was terrific. I did not like the costume in the original movie, but it was 2002, it was a long time ago, and they were just trying things out. He had the character right, but he just looked like shit. He just did. Um, and also, it looks like the Sandman's coming back. I don't think Thomas Hayden Church is going to reprise the role. I think it's just going to be a CGI Sandman, but I'm glad that character is back. Um, the Doctor Strange there, all that. So I'm pretty excited. And of course, the big news, the worst kept secret right now, is that Tobey Maguire will be reprising his role, as will Andrew Garfield. Now, officially on the record, Tom Holland, I don't know anything. I don't know. I don't know. They didn't tell me anything. I don't know. I don't know what's going to go on. Okay, he knows what's going on. He's not allowed to say anything. Okay, Andrew Garfield, I haven't heard anything about it. Nope. They're making a new Spider-Man movie. I did not know. You know. And meanwhile, Tobey Maguire's like, oh yeah, I'm in it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, I was on the set. Yeah, I filmed my scenes. Yeah. So it's like, okay, come on. Okay, we all know you're going to be in it. I'm a little disappointed they didn't show them in the trailer. For me, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Okay, that's Spider-Man. Okay, now the first Spider-Man I ever saw was the original one on the Electric Company, but that Spider-Man did not talk. Okay, the second Spider-Man I saw was Nicholas Hammond, who was famously from The Sound of Music. He's one of the Von Trapp children in Sound of Music, a movie I have not seen. But I knew he was in that, and he was the first Spider-Man I saw when I was a little boy. I was like 4 or 5 years old. There was a Spider-Man TV show in the '70s. Yeah, look it up. It's real. It really happened. Nicholas Hammond was Spider-Man, and I remember Robert F. Simon was J. Jonah Jameson, and the guy that was on Bewitched, the boss on Bewitched, he was J. Jonah Jameson in the pilot movie. But then after that, it was Robert F. Simon. Okay, and I loved that show when I was a kid. It's cheesy now. I've seen it, recently, and just like, okay, it sucks. But when you're a little kid, that's Spider-Man, and I loved it. So for me, Tobey Maguire was, out of all the Spider-Man, he's the one that got it right, just like right. That is the Spider-Man I read growing up. He acted like Spider-Man. He looked like Spider-Man. The only thing that kind of bothered me, and I said this back then, was I kind of wish that they had hired me to play Spider-Man instead of him, because Tobey Maguire and I are like the same age, so I know. But yeah, but that didn't happen, obviously. But yeah, because that was kind of like a dream of mine to play Spider-Man. I mean, I grew up with this character. I know everything about Spider-Man. All right, I read that comic book like nothing else. All right, so anyway, so to get back to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, this trailer, very excited about it. I loved a lot of the things that they did with the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I enjoyed the Vulture. What I'm going to start off with is first I'm going to say the things that I liked about it, and then I'm going to say things I didn't like. Okay, to start with, I love some of these new characters that we got. The Vulture, Michael Keaton is incredible as a Vulture, great villain. I love the whole that they humanized him. He was a father. He was trying to support his family. That's why he committed crime. It wasn't because he was an evil person. I mean, although he did get that way, he was just a rationalist. He said, "Hey, there's people out there. Tony Stark's stealing a hell of a lot more than me, and people love him. I'm just going for my little bit of the pie. Nothing compared to Tony Stark. And he got screwed over by the system. He did, which happens all the time. In desperate times lead desperate people to do desperate things. So I totally related to that character. I understood him. I didn't hate him. I understood why he was doing it. He was misguided, definitely. Selfish, definitely. But I understood why he was doing it. He was trying to stick it to the system. A system that screwed him over. He was just trying to get back what he felt was his. So I related to that character a lot. Mysterio, they did Mysterio very well. And in the last one, Quentin Beck, as he's a slime ball, a slime ball, pretending to be something he wasn't, but that's what Mysterio is. He was a stunt man. He was a special effects expert. He did special effects. He did stunts. He framed people. He impersonated people. He lied a lot. He was a con man. He made you think things that he wanted you to think in order to rob you or to do worse things. That's the kind of person he was. No scruples at all. And that's how Jake Gyllenhaal played him. And I love that. I think he did a great job with Mysterio. Fishbowl head and all. I think he did pretty good. I like that when they showed him, he had all these powers that he didn't have in the comic book. He's flying around and shooting lasers at it. And then you find out, well, it's all illusion. It was all bullshit. So which is Mysterio's character. Absolutely. So I did like that. I am excited about basically what they're bringing the Sinister Six basically in this movie. Okay, we're gonna have the Lizard was in the trailer, Sandman. Jamie Foxx is back as Electro. I honestly I did not like him in Amazing Spider-Man 2. If you've ever seen The Expendables, you remember that guy? What was his name? Syndrome. Okay. Did you ever see Batman? Was Batman for the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Batman and Robin. Okay. Remember Uma Thurman's character Poison Ivy? Remember that one? Okay. Did you ever see? What was the other one? The Batman Forever. Remember Jim Carrey's character as the Riddler? Remember that one? Okay, you see a pattern? They all have the exact same emotion, the exact same character. Okay, just copy and paste. Okay, nerdy guy feels dejected by his hero worshiping idol, becomes evil. I mean, it's like, come on, it's been done to death. It's been done to death. And this movie was the exact same thing. So yeah, I did not like Jamie Foxx's character. In the comic book, Maxwell Dillon was he was a jerk. He was an electrician, but he was very good at what he did. But he knew he was very good at what he did. In a lot of ways, he was a lot like Doctor Strange. Like he was the best in his field, but he was the first one who knew it. And if you wanted him to do something in his specialized field, you had to pay him. And he demanded top dollar. He didn't do anything for altruistic reasons. In fact, in the comic book, another electrician was stuck on one of the electric cables up there. And Max Dillon was the only one who was skilled enough to go out there and reach him and get him down. And they're like, you got to go save him. And he's like, save him for what? I'm not getting paid for it. So they had to like give him money to go save another man's life. And that's the kind of person Maxwell Dillon was. All right, Electro. And that would have been a better character, but they just went with the standard copy and paste, nerd who gets powers and becomes evil and tries to get revenge, so-called revenge on his idol, which has been done to death. So I'm not too excited to see Electro there. I don't care that Jamie Foxx plays him. It's just he didn't act like the Electro I read in the comic books. Electro I read in the comic books was not deformed. He wasn't like scarred, and he fit in very well with society. Like you didn't know he was Electro until he put the costume on. He was just a jerk, so there's that. I like the Sandman. The Lizard was, if you're going to introduce a new Spider-Man, a new origin, why do the Lizard? On a scale of 1 to 10, Lizard falls at like number 8, maybe number 13 on the list of Spider-Man's bad guys. Number 1 is Green Goblin / Hobgoblin. Number 2 is Dr. Octopus. Number 3 is Venom. And yes, Venom is a villain. He is not a superhero. Okay, like they're showing him now. He's not a superhero. He does not only kill bad people. Okay, he kills anybody. And the number one person he wants to kill is Spider-Man. That is his character. Okay, so you got all these characters that are going to show up there, and I'm pretty excited about it. I want to see the Green Goblin again. Apparently, Dr. Octopus is going to be a good guy, which, he did turn into a good guy right before he died in Spider-Man 2. And there's another Goblin there, too. I don't know if it's Harry Osborn, but there's another Green Goblin there, and it's not the Willem Dafoe one. There's another one there. They showed him for like a second. So I'm interested about that. And of course, I want to see Tobey Maguire again. And I want to see, Andrew Garfield. I'd like to see the 3 Spider-Men interact with each other. I know Nicholas Hammond is not going to be in it. I wish he was. But so that part of it I'm excited about. Okay, I like the whole idea that this Spider-Man is integrated in the Spider-Man universe. I love the fact that he joined Iron Man. He was on Iron Man's side during Civil War because I still think that Iron Man's side was the right side. I know they lost Civil War, but they won and they lost. They won the war, they lost the battle. Um, but I agree with Iron Man. I think the Sokovia Accords was a good thing to do. I think it was the right thing to do. I think Captain America was in the wrong, but I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So and I like the fact that Spider-Man was on Iron Man's side because in my heart I felt Iron Man was the right side to be on in that movie. Okay, so that's pretty much the good. I think Tom Holland does a really good job at acting. I think he's good. I think they're all good actors, honestly. Marissa Tomei, Zendaya. I think they're great actors. They really are. I love the fact that Jon Favreau was in there because he's funny. I've been watching him ever since Swingers. I mean, the guy's hilarious. Great director, very talented guy, very talented filmmaker. And to me, he'll always be the guy in Swingers kept calling that girl back over and over again. It was hilarious. Yeah, in the '90s, you had to have been there. Okay, it was just funny. Okay, so I like all that stuff with it. I like the personality. I like Tom Holland. I think he's a likable kid, very likable kid, and he comes across very very sociable. Very very good, like a good guy. Not cocky. But confident. And I like that. I like that about that. Okay, so there. So now I've said the good. The only problem I have with all this stuff, everything I said is good stuff to make a good movie. The problem I have is this isn't Spider-Man. That's not Spider-Man. I'm sorry, Kevin Feige. That's not Spider-Man. Okay, this character that's calling himself Spider-Man is not Spider-Man. Okay, this is a new character that there has never been a comic book of, but I wish there has. I wish there had been. I would have read it. Very interesting character. This is Iron Boy. Okay, I said Iron Boy. Okay, this Spider-Man Homecoming, No Way Home, Far From Home, this is Iron Boy. Okay, this is not Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man. This is Iron Boy. Okay, this is about some kid who likes to say, "Gosh, Mr. Stark, whatever you say, Mr. Stark. Golly, Mr. Stark, I gotta impress you, Mr. Stark. You're like a pseudo-father for you, Mr. Stark." That's not fucking Peter Parker. I don't know who the fuck that is. Okay, give him a name. Don't call him Peter Parker. Call him something else. That's not Spider-Man. It's not Peter Parker. I know he wears that suit, but Spider-Man does not have a high-tech AI suit. Okay, that's Iron Boy. Iron Boy has an AI suit. Iron Boy has all those gadgets hidden inside, woven into the circuitry of the costume. Okay, that's Iron Boy. Okay, it's even in the trailer. He's wearing an iron Spider-Man. It's Iron Boy. Okay, Iron Boy. That's who it is. Not Peter Parker, not Spider-Man. Iron Boy has a fat Laotian friend named Ned Leeds. The Ned Leeds in the comic book is not some fat Laotian high school student. Okay, he was a love rival for Betty Brant. Okay, who was later on was framed. He was a reporter. Later on, he was framed as a hobgoblin, but he was not the hobgoblin. He was actually framed. He was a very sympathetic character. He came across as a jerk, but Betty kind of really did a number on him. I mean, his wife Betty cheated on him numerous times with Flash Thompson, with Peter. So he was kind of like not feeling really good about himself. He was a reporter for the Daily Bugle, and the Hobgoblin finds out this guy is writing a story on him, so he kidnaps him, brainwashes him to make him think he's the Hobgoblin, frames him as a Hobgoblin. He dies in a Hobgoblin costume, so the world can think the Hobgoblin was dead when he was an innocent man. So yeah, he was not like some high schooler kid, some fat high schooler kid that hung out with Peter Parker. No. And MJ. That's not MJ. Mary Jane Watson is MJ. Kristen Dunst did a good job as MJ. Zendaya, you're not MJ. You're some character called Michelle. You're a very likable girl. You're a beautiful girl. I think you have great chemistry with Tom Holland. I think you and Tom Holland make a great. I think I heard that they were actually an item in real life, but I don't know. But they have great chemistry together. I kind of root for them. I actually like them together. I like seeing them. When they're on a date and stuff. I like the banter that goes on between them. But that's not Peter Parker and MJ. It's not. Neither one of them are those characters. They're being called those characters. I understand that in the movie. They're labeled as those characters. They are not those characters. They're good characters, but they're not those characters. Yeah, so that's just like that. That's just not Spider-Man. But it's exciting. I like the movies. I like the movies. I like No Way From Home. I'm sorry, not but Far From Home. I liked it. I thought it was funny. I thought there was some good stuff in there. Definitely had a fun time. I loved Mysterio. It was all good. I loved Homecoming. That was good too. Like I said, the Vulture. Michael Keaton did a great job as the Vulture. Great job. Um, I like the character he's playing. I like the character that Tom Holland's playing. I do. I love that character. He's a good guy, but he's just not Spider Man. That's not Spider Man. If you saw a movie called Batman, and it was about a guy in a bat suit who flies around, cracking jokes, who loses his powers at night because his powers only work during the sun, and he's got a pet bat that flies around with him. And like I said, they can only fly. They can only like fight crime in the daytime. He's got a pet bat that comes with him, and he cracks jokes, and he's part of the city council, and the whole world knows his real identity. He has no secret identity. The whole world knows who he is, and they're calling him Bruce Wayne. What would you think? Okay, well, I like the idea that his powers are based on the sunlight. I like the pet bat. The pet bat actually comes in very handy. I don't like the fact that he doesn't come out at night. I don't like the fact that he's always cracking jokes. Uh, he doesn't act like Bruce Wayne does. He doesn't look like Bruce Wayne. Doesn't act like Bruce Wayne. This isn't the Bruce Wayne that I read in the Batman comic books or that I've seen in the other movies. This is some new character, and they're calling him Batman, but that's not Batman. Okay, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. If someone were to give you a Daredevil comic book and they colored his costume black and they said, okay, this is Batman, and you read it and you'd be like, this is pretty good, but that's not Batman. This guy's has like he's blind, he's got super hearing, he's he can hear your heartbeat, he knows if you're lying or not. He has superhuman smell. He's got this radar sense. He's a lawyer in Hell's Kitchen, New York. This isn't Batman. He's cool. This guy's a Catholic and stuff. I think he's a cool character. I mean, a handicapped superhero. Who's a lawyer by day and vigilante at night. He's cool. He beats up bad guys. He carries his billy club. But that's not Batman. That's not Batman. This is a different superhero. He's a cool superhero, but he's not Batman. See that's how I feel when I see a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. He's a cool superhero, but it's not Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't act that way. He doesn't talk that way. He doesn't wear a suit like that. He doesn't live in that world. They're just calling him Spider-Man. Now I think I know why they did it. I think when they got the rights to do Spider-Man movies from Sony, because Sony still has the rights, but they allowed Marvel to use him. I think Marvel was like, okay, if something happens and Sony decides to pull the plug on us, just maybe they say like, well, you're not doing a good job. Boom, we're taking Spider-Man away from you. Later on, when Sony goes bankrupt, they'll acquire Spider-Man back and they'll reboot him the way they want to do it. And if they do that, then all the stuff that we saw here with the Tom Holland Spider-Man is going to be gone. So there can't be any sort of a copyright thing. Because their Ned Leeds will be the comic book Ned Leeds, not some fat Laotian high school student. Their Mary Jane Watson will be the redhead, Mary Jane Watson, not some, African American Michelle Johnson or whatever her name is. You see, so that way they can avoid copyright issues. They can avoid getting sued. Okay, so I think that's why they did it. I think that's why they made Aunt May like a hot middle-aged woman. So that way when they do a comic book accurate Aunt May, they can't get sued. So they can't sue. No, that was our Aunt May, not yours. No, you see what I mean? I think that's why they did it. But still, they're calling it Spider-Man. They're calling him Peter Parker. As far as I know, this kid doesn't give a crap about science. As far as I know, he likes girls. He's got one-itis. He just doesn't. He's not the kind of kid. I mean, he wants to play with Star Wars Legos. He doesn't want to practice science. Spider-Man was a nerd. Peter Parker was a nerd because he was always like playing with test tubes. He wasn't. I mean, I know the definition of nerd now is different, but Peter Parker was smart. He invented the web shooters. Tony Stark didn't invent it for him. He made that his own. He made it on his own. He didn't rely on Tony Stark for his technology. That like I said, this is Iron Boy, not Spider-Man. So that right there, I gotta take every Spider-Man movie that Marvel does now with a grain of salt. You know, even like Avengers, you know, Endgame and Infinity War. You know, that's not Spider-Man. That's a character called Spider-Man. That's Spider Boy or Iron Boy. You know, I can't tell if it's Spider Boy or Iron Boy. I don't know which one it is, but it's not Spider-Man, and it's never gonna be Spider-Man. Not to me. It's nowhere near. The closest Spider-Man I've seen, comic book accurate Spider-Man I've seen is Tobey Maguire. And that's why I'm really excited because I know he's going to be, and he's not in the trailer, but I know he's going to be in the movie. And I'm really excited about that because I want to see Tobey Maguire again. He's Spider-Man. He is my Spider-Man. He got it right. He got it right. First big budget. I mean, Sam Raimi, he made those movies. He was a huge Spider-Man fan. Huge. He read all the same comic books I did. You know, so he was, you know, he knows this character. He knows how to get Peter Parker right. He knows how to get Spider-Man right. The relationship with MJ, Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn, you know. The Green Goblin, they got him right. You know, they changed Dr. Octopus, but they made him better. Dr. Octopus was just a standard generic bad guy in the comic books, you know. In the movies, they made him a sympathetic guy. He was a married man, you know. He was an altruistic person, you know. He was trying to better the world. He was trying to use his science to help people, you know, and he got misguided. You know, he didn't want to let go of his own hubris. He didn't want to let go of his creation, you know. He didn't want to believe that he might have failed, you know. He would rather blow up the whole city than admit that he was wrong, you know. There's a lot of people like that in the world, you know, and he happened to be one of them, you know. And, you know, so I could empathize with that character in a way that I never did in the comic books. In the comic books, he was just a bad guy. He was an evil scientist, you know. And I mean, later on, we found out, yeah, well, he still lived with his mom and stuff like that. He was in his 30s, still lived with his mom. He was an incel, and you know, so he threw himself into his work, and he wasn't paying attention, and he blew up, and he got the arm stuck to his body. Well, that's just stupid. That's just like a pitiful person. The way they did Dr. Octopus was much better in the movie. They made him an empathetic person, someone you felt sorry for, someone that you wanted him to get better. You know, you knew he was doing the wrong thing, but you wanted him to get better. You know, so I think they did it right, and they did Sandman pretty good too. They really did. Venom. Well, at least they got the correct. They gave Venom the correct personality. Yeah, that's it. The new Venom looks more like what Venom should look like. Sounds more like what Venom should look like. The Tom Hardy one, yeah. But he does not act like Venom at all. This is like a Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin duo, like an Abbott and Costello thing, which is not Venom at all. It's interesting. It's fun to watch, but it's not Venom. So anyway, so that's all I have. Let me know if you agree, you know, or if you don't agree, you know. I'm going to do some more videos on Spider-Man. He is my favorite character. I just want to talk about the trailer right now just because, you know, and just how Marvel's doing Spider-Man right now. I'm probably not going to be disappointed when the movie does come out. I am excited about it. It's just that it's not Spider-Man. These are entertaining movies. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying these are bad movies. I'm saying they're not Spider-Man. They're not a Spider-Man movie. So and Spider-Man I take close to heart because that's the superhero I grew up with. That's the one that I was drawing when I was drawing comics. That's the one that I read every month, that I had a subscription to when I was a kid. I watched all the cartoons. You know, I mean, I knew everything about this character. I still know everything about the character. You know, even though I haven't read comic books in a long time. You know, he's very special to me. He's very close to my heart. I feel very protective of him, and I hope they get him right. And it bothers me when they don't get him right. It really does. So anyway, I'm Diego, and thanks for watching my video.